Okay, so I am excited to share with you guys today. We're going to be talking about gut health and how important our guts are because really, if our guts are healthy, then our minds are healthy. And if you don't really believe me, we'll give you a few examples of just some sayings that maybe you say to kind of show you the correlation that you have between your gut and your brain. Do you ever say, my gut instinct tells me, and like go with your gut, right? Or this makes me sick to my stomach, or I've bitten off more than I can chew, or when you're trying to contemplate something, you're like, I need to digest that a little bit, right? So our gut and our minds are really connected. And we use it in our words when we say things like that. So it's really important that we keep our gut healthy because it is our second brain. There is a network of neurons and chemicals and hormones that are released and processed there. And so if our guts aren't healthy, then it's causing all of those things to malfunction and it shows up in our body in other places, which we'll talk about today. So I want us to focus in on our guts and not to dismiss our guts. A lot of times it's our guts are just often forgotten about. We don't really think about them, or we're not really aware of how important or powerful or impactful a gut imbalance can be. So, in order to understand this, we're going to get into a little biology and anatomy, physiology 101 here. So, our digestive system is from the moment it hits our mouth until it processes all the way through until it reaches the toilet. Okay, our digestive system's job is to take in food, to start to break it down, to absorb all the nutrients, and then to get rid of the rest. So, if that's an important job that it has to do. So, how are we to know if our gut is working right? So, we know if our gut is working right by how our toileting is, how things are going. So, a naturopathic doctor, explains it this way: if you have an easy to pass, a well formed bowel movement every day, sometimes twice. So, your body is just working smoothly. It's not loose and it's not too runny, and it's not rock hard, pebbly too hard. So, yes, we are going to talk about poop and all things like that today. So I hope you're okay with that. As a mom and a nurse, it's just okay with me. So I'm very comfortable with that. So let's talk a little bit, getting into more of the microbiology about our digestive system, because we want our digestive system to be working optimally. And so there needs to be a balance of bacteria. Okay. And a lot of times when we think of bacteria, we think, no, 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 we don't want that. Like, no, we need antibiotics or antibacterial wash or you know, the lotion, rub it on to clean our hands and get rid of the bacteria. Well, in our body and on our body, a certain amount of bacteria is good. And we want to help build those bacteria up because they are doing a good job for us. They have a job and they need to do their job, but we need to help them do their job by feeding them and fueling them properly, because they are what's detoxifying our body. They're what's extracting the nutrients for our body. And so our gut just needs to have an equal balance of good and bad bacteria, and the good needs to outweigh the bad. Um, and yeah, Stacy says we want to build a proper biosphere. So it's like this realm of everything in balance. Okay. When you have a good balance where the good bacteria are built up and nice and strong, the saying, many hands make light work. Well, this is very true in this regard because there are 100 trillion bacteria in your gut. And if they are built up with good bacteria, and that is many hands doing that work, getting through all those intestines, breaking down, extracting all the nutrients that your body needs. And that's why you're able to have that easy to pass, well formed bowel movement once or twice a day. And so if you don't have a good amount of that good bacteria, and you have, that's our first line of defense to eliminate waste and toxins, right? That's where our food is being digested and we're getting the nutrients, so it's making it harder for that to happen. And like, for example, when you do have a buildup of bad bacteria, often you get antibiotics, and that is needed to treat, say, a sinus infection or something where there's a buildup of bad bacteria. Well, it doesn't just focus on the bad bacteria that may be in your sinuses. It also affects the bacteria in your gut and also on your skin or in other places. For instance, often when especially since I've gone through chemo, if I have to take antibiotics, often I'll end up with a yeast infection because those bacteria aren't good and strong there. And so now yeast is able to develop and form there, which is uncomfortable and unpleasant, right? Well, the same thing is happening inside our gut. Yeast, mucus, and fungus, all of that kind of thing can be building upon all of those layers in your intestines. And it's just building. And so not only are the nutrients not able to pass and be absorbed, but then the toxins are like getting stuck and they're not being removed. If you think about it, we go to the dentist twice a year to have the plaque scraped off of our teeth that we can't see. Like, we feel like we're doing a good job brushing our teeth and flossing, but they come in with their high focus glasses and they can, they keep picking at your teeth, and they're in there for a half an hour and you're like, what are you getting? But my gosh, when you leave there, you're like, wow, my mouth is really clean. Like, there's a significant difference that you can feel with just that, what they've scraped off those micro little things. And so we do that for our teeth. But do we do that for our gut? We really need to be paying attention to our gut in the same way, because just like we don't want dental disease, because that can also get into our system and cause all kinds of problems. But our gut houses 80% of our immune system. And so if it's weakened, if we have a weakened immune system, often it's because our gut is imbalanced. And it can lead to a wide range of diseases, which we're going to talk about next. So if you're not having that easy to pass, well-formed bowel movement once a day, if it's too loose or you're constipated, bloating, have excessive gas. Now, there's an amount of gas that's normal. We're going to talk about that in a moment. But anything like even hemorrhoids or abdominal pain, those are things that are saying, like, your body's saying, something's not right. We're in distress here. If there's odor, even bad breath or abdominal gas, like if it's pungent, then there's toxicness that's being released from our bodies. Like I mentioned at the beginning, our gut and our mind are really connected. So sometimes that can be why we have our depression or anxiety or stress. If or having a tummy ache can knock you out, right? You just don't feel good if your stomach doesn't feel good. It affects your whole well-being. It can also show up in your skin. A lot of times, acne is a result of that, or eczema. Stacy, do you want to share about where your gallbladder channels are and where you see things like that?
For sure. So your gallbladder channels are all from the temples all the way behind your ears and down to the bottom of your jawline. So if you have any kind of inflammation or you get chronic ear infections, that is actually related to your gallbladder channel, which means you are not digesting properly. The other thing is you've got large intestine channels on the outsides of your arms here. So your lung channel is here in the middle, but your large intestine runs on the outside and your small intestines run on the inside of your arms. And so if you get like prickly heat or acne, and I didn't put makeup on specifically because I wanted to show you guys. So I'm doing a cleanse right now. I started yesterday and you can see that I'm already breaking out on my face because our skin is the largest organ in our body. And it's actually our septic tank system. It's where we dump toxins. It's why when people get really like pustulous boils and heat, prickly heat, why it shows up there, because it's the only organ that can actually externally excrete in safety. So if you get any kind of like rashes on the tops of your arms that's pustulous and bumpy and they're kind of itchy, that is a sign that on the outside part is your large intestine. So you might have a buildup of toxins. And when we talk about the large intestine, there's little villas that look like tiny little fingers in all your intestine walls. And so they work together doing this inside of your colon as they're pushing things through. And if you've got any kind of mucoid plaque or sticky things, that's where the bacteria likes to hide. And that's where you'll get symptomologies like leaky gut, bloated, overweight sensation. Your weight on the scale won't change, but your abdomen pressure will change. So when you have anything on your arms, it's usually a sign that you're not digesting your food properly. And it could be a protein imbalance where you're not digesting protein milks, or you're not digesting vegetables and fruits very well. Usually the doctors will tell you it's eczema or psoriasis. And quite often it can be just treated by doing exactly what I'm doing right now, sitting in the sun.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing all that, Stacey. Yes, and like with that mucoid plaque, if that's in there, then that's why we can have the vitamin and mineral deficiencies, is because we're not able to absorb through our intestines properly. And bacteria like warm, moist, dark places, which our intestines are that exactly, but they also like to feed off sugar. So that could be a reason why we have certain sugar cravings. And so we were feeding those bad bacteria. And often after we get the sugar, like, that tastes good. But then often we feel sick in our gut, right? It could be a reason why we show up with joint pain, or just muscle discomfort, because the toxins will go somewhere in our body. If we can't eliminate it out in our bowel movements or excrete it in our urine, then it's going to go somewhere in our body. Like Stacey said, it's showing up in her skin. It's sometimes we hold stress in certain places, and often that's a reason why. Again, with the sugar cravings, that also leads to the weight gain. That can be a reason for our weight gain, is just our gut is imbalanced, that it's not digesting things properly. And then fatigue, just being tired. And that same doctor that I was referring to, she says when she hears any patient complain of any of these things, and there's not like a specific medical diagnosis that she can pinpoint, often it's because they have an unhealthy gut. So we are going to talk about in a few moments how we go about that. But first, I mentioned I was going to talk about gas for a moment, because gas is something that is naturally occurring and that we all experience. It's really cute when you're little, like my 3-year-old we call him Mr. Tooters, and he's super cute when he toots, but you quickly outgrow that cuteness of it. And it especially like my 9-year-old, it becomes unpleasant and we don't enjoy being around it. But it's part of natural digestion, and really it can vary from person to person, but 10 to 20 times a day is normal. Anything above that is kind of excessive. And if you feel just like you're in pain and a lot of discomfort, a a digestive enzyme could really be helpful. Like your body isn't, yes, Stacy's holding up the Terrazyme. Your body isn't able to break down certain things, and so it's bubbling up and it's showing up in that way. So these capsules you can take with every meal, or morning and night, just however you're feeling it, to really help with those symptoms. Sometimes it's not something you're eating. Sometimes it's how you're drinking carbonated fluids, and sodas, beers, alcohols, of any kind. Those can cause that bubbliness inside, and often it comes up this way. But if it doesn't come up this way, it's going to pass through and go out the other end. Sometimes just drinking through a straw. Drinking through a straw, you can drink more, it seems like, but oftentimes you can be swallowing a little bit of air at the same time. And so if you're swallowing air, again, it needs to come out somewhere. And even things like biting your nails or chewing on a pen or chewing gum or sucking on hard candy, eating quickly. When I was in the military, and especially in boot camp, you had little time. Like they marched you in, they marched you out. Like you got your food, you sat down, and then you only had a few minutes to eat. So it's like, and you were burning lots of calories. So you like shoveled your food, and then you had to get up and go. And it took Joe and I a while to break that habit of just like, we have food, let's eat, And it's like, okay, we can take our time now. Like that, this isn't a healthy thing. Like, oh, our gut really wreaked havoc then when we did that. Stacy, did you have something?
I'm still trying to learn to not do that or eat late at night. That's my other thing. So
Yeah.
I've had to learn. So one of the other things that we want to talk about is intermittent fasting. So because I work late at night outside, when I get home, I tend to have a good high protein meal to help my muscles because I've just had a huge workout in the gardens for 4 or 5 hours. And so, because of that, I do what's called intermittent fasting. So, I won't eat from 11 o'clock at night until 1 o'clock in the next day.
Hmm. Yeah, and you can find your window. A lot of people do like a 10 to 6 or 10 to 8. So, yeah, whatever works for you, but to give your body a period of time of rest so it can digest and be doing its job. But if you're having abdominal pain or your digestion is really slow, a lot of times it could be that you're just dehydrated. We've talked hydration, and I think in each of these classes, because it is so important. And I'm finding more and more as I'm coaching one on one with people that people just aren't drinking enough. They often, our cue for thirst is filled with food. So we satisfy that cue for thirst with food. So we're adding more for our digestive tract to do and not giving it help. When it goes through that large intestine, the last part, that's where a lot of the water is being extracted from it and being absorbed back in your body. And so if it's moving slowly, it's continued to absorb water when it doesn't have any water to absorb from. And so you're only making the problem worse. You're getting more and more constipation. So it could be a simple trick as just drinking some more water. And really, again, 8 to 10 glasses is textbook, but really half of your body weight in ounces is your goal. Is everyone's unique, and that's really what you should be aiming for. But if you are having issues, you should get checked by a doctor if you just have some concerns. Colon cancer is one of those cancers that often doesn't get diagnosed till its advanced stages. And so if it can be caught early, and if you can just do some pre-screenings, often they'll do the occult blood test where they just take a sample of your stool to see if there's any blood in your stool. Or once you're over the age of 50, they do the sigmoidoscopies or the colonoscopies where they take a scope and they look up there just to see if there's any polyps or things of concern to be aware of. And so, but you can do your part by drinking your water and having your bowels be moving. And definitely, if you have any concern, just go talk about it with your doctor. Okay, so we need to balance things because if they aren't balanced, then we aren't absorbing the nutrients like we talked about, and our blood sugar can't be regulated. Like Stacey said, she takes a high protein meal to help restore her body after she's had a big workout. And our body needs energy, um, from protein and carbs and all of that. But if we create an insulin resistance, and that also creates those sugar cravings and then the weight gain and then it just has nowhere to go. But the option is to store as fat. So it's our Western diet really isn't conducive to having good gut health. Um, if we're having a lot of cravings, oftentimes maybe you can be clued in after hearing this lesson today that your gut is imbalanced and we need to do something about it. So let's talk about what we're going to do. So how to balance your gut. The simple thing is just eat more fruits and vegetables. Just eat them. They have lots of pre and probiotics naturally in them, and we need lots of fiber to help our bowels be regular and easy to pass. But that's also where we get our B vitamins and our K vitamins, and that's where we get our energy. A lot of times, if you're fatigued, you'll try to supplement with B vitamins, but if your gut's not absorbing things properly, then you're just excreting out that supplement as well. So we want to clean out our gut. And so how we can go about that is doing a cleanse. Stacey just talked about that she started. So why don't you go ahead, Stacey, and you tell us what you're doing and what you're using and how you're doing that.
Sure. So I'm using the Cleanse and Restore kit. I do this 5 times a year. And the reason why I do this is because I have celiac disease. And quite often, I don't absorb things. And my very first inclination is when I either catch too many colds in a row, or what's happening right now, because I work with senior citizens, helping them keep their big yards so they can stay in their homes in the evenings. And I noticed that I'm having a lot of allergies, and allergies is a symptom because it's an autoimmune marker, and it comes from not having a healthy gut biosphere. So what I've been doing is I've been taking Zendocrine twice a day, and you can use the oil in a capsule or in a roller up and down your spine, or just drop it down your spine after a shower. And I like taking the capsules. And so I will do the Zendocrine for 10 days. And then after that 10 days, I will do one Zendocrine, then only a day, and then the GX Assist. And so the GX Assist looks like this. It looks like a little very heavy dark bean. And what's in it is the gut cleanser. It's the Biosphere gut cleanser for the large intestine. It has oregano leaf, tea tree, lemon peel, peppermint plant, lemongrass leaf, and thyme leaf. And all of the supplements from doTERRA are put in non-GMO capsules, so they are safe for any kind of lactose, any kind of celiac. They're all gluten-free and dairy-free. A lot of them are just made with gelatin, glycerin, purified water, and Carnauba wax. And Carnauba wax actually can help you put the lining back into your intestine so that you can poop those nice, big, smooth poops that you're supposed to have twice a day. Then after, so now we're on week 3, then I'm going to add this little guy called PB Assist. And what PB Assist does is it has a pre and a probiotic. So it's a really hard capsule encapsulated with another capsule. And inside that second capsule is where it releases to put that heavy fauna back into your large intestine. And it has L. acidophilus, L. salvarius, Casey biodiphyme longum, and a prebiotic. So that's what I will do for the next 3 weeks. And also, I'm going to up my omegas because your omega fatty acids also helps your digestive system. It helps put in the lining in your digestive tract and helps smooth out if you've got any roughage spots, or like for myself, I was 16 when I was diagnosed with cancer, and I had to have some of my large intestine removed because I had polyps and things. So now that I know all these things, working for better health, I can be my own best physician. And I work with a really great physician who believes in homeopathy and balancing everything. And when I tell him some of the things that we're doing, because I use acutonics as well as the doTERRA, he said, that's the medicine of the future. And that's where we hope to go, because we want people to go back to more of a natural lifestyle so they're not so dependent on the chemicals. And lastly, I'm putting 2 drops of lemon water in a metal container. You can use glass too. And I drink about 15 of these a day.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. So those are all super good tips. We're going to share a few more tips with you. So we need to remove the irritants. A lot of the
Hey,
things.
real quick, Stacy, put all that stuff in the chat, please. I'm sorry. But can she say all that in the chat? Thank you.
Yes. I think there's isn't there a PDF already, Stacy, somewhere? The protocol.
Yeah, it's coming up in the slides.
Okay, so we just need to remove the junk from our diet. The high fat, the high sugar, the processed, all those things are irritant to anybody's gut, whether you have, dairy issues or celiac, or just you're fine. It's hard on anybody's gut. The artificial sugars, alcohol and caffeine, conventional meats and dairies and whatnot. I got my first homegrown butchered cow this last year, and it not only tastes better, but it really does. It feels better to consume that. And I have a friend who brings me farm fresh eggs, and those taste better, and they just bring me joy. But knowing that it's also very, very healthy and good, good for my gut, and I'm not causing that to be more an irritant, that makes me happy. Another thing you can do is fermented foods, and you just need like a tablespoon of any kind of fermented food. If you're not a fan of like sauerkraut and kimchi and all these spicy ones or whatnot, pickles are even a fermented food, and yogurt. So I think most of you can handle those or like those, hopefully. Kefirs, there's milk kefir, coconut kefir, water kefir. You can make those at home. It's kind of like a little science project you can do. So you can research more about those if you'd like. So we want to boost up your fiber, so fruits and vegetables, things like that. If you're not getting enough, then supplement. Like Stacy said, doTERRA's vitamins are not only 100% natural, and they have not only 12 fruits and vegetables, servings of fruits and vegetables in them, but they also have the benefit of several essential oils. And again, the nurse practitioner in our town who saw a lot of COVID patients, she would prescribe high doses of C, D, zinc, and quercetin, and those are all in these supplements. The omegas are, Stacy talked about as well, are very beneficial as well. They're not just the fish, but they have the plant omegas. So if you're not getting these in, or I say if you can't, won't, or don't get them in, then bridge the gap and be supplementing and help support. So you are building that biosphere, the many hands that make light work. You're building that up so everything is processing properly. Okay, so we want to avoid the stimulants, supplement if you're not getting those in, and then exercise and sleep. Sometimes our sedentary lifestyle is what is causing us to not be moving our bowels, because we need movement in our body to help that peristalsis of our food through our intestines as well, especially in the large intestines. So if you have a tummy ache, or a kid has a tummy ache and they're not moving their bowels, you can do a clockwise motion on their tummy just to kind of help stimulate that to move the way it's supposed to move. Also, an oil called Digest Zen is a great one to roll on the belly and in the belly button if you're having a lot of upset tummy issues. And then just exercise can also help you just de-stress. Stress can also cause tension anywhere in our body. It can cause tension in our gut, and so we're not moving our bowels. And when I was on chemo, and I would have upset stomach and puke in my brains out the first 4 or 5 days, and then after that, I couldn't move my bowels for 3 or 4 days, and I feel like that was just as miserable, if not worse, than feeling all the puke in my brains out issue. So we want to commit to getting that daily movement in, moving our body and moving our bowels. Okay, so here's a screenshot you can take that is, a rundown of all the things that we talked about. So cutting out of the foods, adding some pre and probiotic foods, or supplementing. doTERRA has great ones to offer. Adding things we didn't talk about, but cultured dairy or bone broth, those are all super good to help your gut, especially if you have like a cold that you're recovering from. It really helps boost that immunity back up. Chew your food slowly, de-stress, add more water, and cut back on your caffeine and such. Okay, so I want to go into more detail on some of the products that we talked about. So Zendocrine was the first that Stacy talked about that she started with. So this is the one that's helping to detoxify and cleanse not just your gut, but your liver, your kidneys, your lungs, your skin. Stacy's taking it as a pill and I'm taking it as the oil. You can put it on you. You can put it in you. I don't mind the taste of this, so I actually put it in my morning water, making it like a tea to help detoxify and cleanse those. Otherwise, taking 2 of the capsules, either in the morning or with your meals. Turmeric is one that is an anti-inflammatory. It helps fight off those free radicals that you will be expelling during this cleanse. So it's a great one to add into it. Just the complementary benefits of that with the essential oils also is helping release that might really be held up where we feel it in the joints and that pain. Often we go and we get treated for these side effects of what we're feeling, like the allergies Stacey was talking about, or like her acne or joint pain or whatever. Well, we're treating those things when really that naturopathic doctor was saying, often I trace it back to an unhealthy gut. And so you can do your own detective work, and you know what your toileting issues are like, whether they're good or whether they need to be improved. You can adjust and shift in a way. Maybe you just need to drink more water, like we said. That's fabulous. But sometimes we need to help and add more support. The probiotics and the Terrazyme were ones that the Terrazyme is that digestive enzyme. It helps you digest even if you had a heavy meal and if you get that heartburn, or sometimes we say eat more fruits and vegetables, right? Well, sometimes eating a lot of vegetables can make you kind of gassy, right? And that's uncomfortable. It's good for you to eat all those vegetables, but we don't want to be uncomfortable. So sometimes we avoid eating them because we don't want that discomfort. Well, if you take a Terrazyme with it, then that will help aid in that breaking down of those veggies that often cause that extra noise and extra bubbles. And the probiotics, she showed you ones she takes, but they also have a version for kids. They're these little sachets that have just a powder form. And so the kids just take it like a pixie stick, and that you can help their gut as well. Because often kids complain of tummy aches, don't they? And often we say our first thing is, did you go to the bathroom? Like often it's because they haven't moved their bowels. So we need to not only just think about ourselves, but usually as the mom or the grandma or the wife, we're kind of the live-in doctor or nurse, the night nurse on hand. And so we have to care for everyone around us. Okay, so here is a list of some others that we haven't talked about. The bone nutrient one. This also has the zinc in it, which is good for your gut, but the magnesium, if you take this at night, this can help with while your gut is resting. It can help move your bowels. So hopefully in the morning you'll have good movements, but it also can help you with sleep. So Sandy, we were talking before our class started with sleep issues. Maybe this would be one that would also be one that you would like to add into that to help that sleep. So Stacy, or any on here that you wanna add your 2 cents about?
For sure. So like we were discussing with Sandy in the beginning of the class, for me, I'm the same way, like downers are uppers and uppers are downers. So where most people would take a Serenity cap at night, I take one in the day to help me just have a better mood stability. Homeschooling 3 little kids is not always easy. Adaptive is a super awesome capsule. It's got the selenium and the GABA and ahi flower and all of those things that help the fatty tissues in our brain. I take the turmeric capsules 3 times a day for a lot of stuff, but the 2 that I don't have on hand because I forgot them in the house is the Mitomax 2 is amazing. If you are that person who gets really sleepy and needs to almost have a rest or a nap between 2:30 and 3 in the afternoon, if you take 2 Mitomaxes, it's like having a venti coffee, and it will just kickstart your system into having that right delivery energy full of vitamins and proteins to get you through to the day. And then the last one that's been a game changer for me has been the Yarrow Palm Complex. It has frankincense and the pomegranate seed oils from the Yarrow Palm. And that is really existential for helping develop that nice, healthy membrane on the outside of your cells.
Awesome, thank you. It sounds like a lot, but if you, here's a way that you can break it down as to what you can take when you need to take it. Like the probiotics, we want those in the morning to help build up that biosphere, right? We want those vitamins in us to help support us, which we're not getting. The Terrazyme with our meals, or whenever you feel like you need it. Adaptive helps the calm throughout the day. Mitomax in the afternoon. Yarrow Palm in the evening, or Copaiba and Serenity if you have trouble sleeping. But they have kits where you can put them together, and they end up being cheaper whether you were to order them individually. So the Lifelong Vitality comes as a pack, and you can choose other ones that you want to go with it. Here's an example of one that if you add it to a loyalty rewards program, then it's like getting Kohl's cash back. You are getting points back on your account for everything that you order. You are getting a free oil of the month, or sometimes they have extra freebie bonuses. You're getting extra free things. So it makes it even um, more of a better deal. So the cleanse and restore kit that Stacy was talking about, that comes as a kit as well, and it has all of the items in there that you need. Stacy, what were you going to share?
Do you guys have the same in the States as we do in Canada? When we buy our Lifelong Vitality Pack in Canada, we're allowed to get 2 Terrazymes at a very discounted rate.
Oh.
And Zendocrine. So check that out on your LRPs, because quite often they give really good deals like that just to help you keep on track. And you don't have to be doing the pre and probiotics all the time. This is something that you want to do to kickstart your system. It's like just having a fresh spring clean of the house, only the inside of the house.
Yes. Yes, like I refer to with the dentist analogy, like twice a year we go and get that deep cleaning in our teeth. So I would recommend at least once a year, if not twice. Stacy needs to do it more times because of her condition. So everyone's unique. You do your own detective work and feel, how you are feeling. If you are having those easy to move bowel movements, if you're not having pain, if you are not having other symptoms that are showing up possibly, then you're fine. Yes, use probiotics just for a bit, and then allow, do your own work to eat those fruits and vegetables and a well-rounded healthy diet. But supplement when you can't, won't, or don't, and you're just not getting it in, to bridge that gap, to help you have a healthy gut so you can be overall healthy. This is why Stacy and I are doing this. We love to share wellness with others. We love to bring hope, because when you have your wellness, you can have more hope. We both had a medical crisis that was really eye-opening to us, having had cancer that has taken our health away. And our health has been restored thanks to a lot of these doTERRA products. So we are doing this as a gift of our time of service to share these informations with you, because we love you. We care about you and your health, and we want the best for you and anyone that we can have a reach to. So now I want to end. Joe, how do I end the share? I need to end the share.
Just at the top. Get rid of your little thingy. There you go.
Okay. Sorry. Okay, there we go. So now is the time where I like to hear from you. If you guys have had an experience with an oil that you would like to share, because we all learn from each other. Not all of us have had the same experiences, or have tried all the oils or any of that. So we can learn from each other. It doesn't have to be about your gut health. It can be about anything. And if you've had a win of any kind, or if you've learned something in this class today, if you want to share something about that, we'd love to hear that. So if you don't mind unmuting and being brave, I'd love to hear from you all. Anyone?
What was your win of the week, Karen?
Oh, my win of the week. I have the kids collection kit, and the rescuer is one that for any boo-boos. And I had 2 of my children step on a bee out in the grass with no shoes on. And so that was the oil that I ran and got. And I tried to use some other natural remedies, and it wasn't until I used that oil that they were like, like they would stop screaming. So I was very glad that I had that.
Mine was the diffusers. I had gotten the Mother's Day collection with those Roma diffusers. So you can pop them off the charging station and take them around the house. So our kids, all of us, it's springtime here in very sunny Medicine Hat, and there's lots of pollen everywhere, and it's kind of driving us a little bit crazy. That's why I'm doing the cleanses, to try to help my body restore itself back to normal so that it doesn't look at the pollen as an invader. So I've been putting 2 drops of lemon, 2 drops of peppermint, and 2 drops of petitgrain in the diffuser instead of giving the kids an antihistamine. And it has made a huge difference.
Wonderful. That's awesome. Yeah, pollen affects a lot of people this time of year, so that's a great tip. Thank you. Joe, I know you had a win with your girls sleeping. Are you able to share? She was busy making dinner, so maybe she's not able to share, but Sandy, you have a bunch of oils. Is there any that you've used that you are fond of or are helping?
Well, if I could get my phone to unmute, maybe. I've used a few of them. I don't know how all of them work, but I can say this. My husband uses tea tree oil on his feet in the springtime because he doesn't like ticks, and it will keep the ticks away.
Oh.
So yeah. Yeah, he'll put it on his feet every morning and then put his boots on and go out to go to work. And I asked him the other day, why are you doing that? He says, because the ticks don't like tea tree oil and they will stay away. And he's had ticks on him before. So yeah, it works out great for that.
That's a wonderful tip. I love that. I didn't know that. Great. Anyone else? Oh, Stacy says peppermint also helps ticks. Makes them jump off.
I remember as a kid when I was little, we'd learned about Rocky Mountain tick fever from the ticks that you can get. And I was maybe 7. We went out helping one of my dad's friends with his sheep, and I got a tick on me and I thought I was just going to die. You know, I didn't know there were different kinds of ticks, like a wood tick and a sheep tick and a this tick and a that tick. I just thought a tick was a tick when I was that little, after being taught at school. And I had a brand new sweater on and I refused to wear it because there were ticks on it. Yeah, my dad had to explain that all to me because I was sure if one of them got me, I was going to be dead.
Oh, well, I'm glad you lived to tell the tale.
Apparently I was okay.
Hey, Joe, you're there now. Are you able to share about?
I am.
Yay.
Yeah, I tried, I have a few of the kid roll-ons with the roll-on pack, and I tried Calmer on the girls last week. I think like 3 nights, and they slept through the night. They didn't join me, and the nights that I didn't use it, they're in my bed. So definitely a huge difference there. So I am definitely meaning to use that every night.
Yes. Yeah.
And stay out of my bed.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
detective work. Like the days you used it, they slept through, and the days you didn't, they didn't. So like,
Yeah.
there has.
And they actually liked it. They actually reminded me to put it on them. So that helped.
Oh, good.
That helped even better because then I didn't have to worry about it. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
It
And you
was
can
good.
empower them to, like, when they're brushing their teeth at night, put their oils on, and
Yeah.
and yeah, they sleep, you sleep. So win.
Yeah. Yeah.
How old are your girls, Joe?
They're 6.
She has twins also.
Did you have
Hi. So great. Well, guys, is there any other questions or any other Anyone wanting to share anything else?
Karen, I just realized something. If you look on the bottom of these capsule boxes, there's a QR code that you could scan and it would give you information on your phones. I just noticed this today.
Oh, cool. I didn't notice that either. Huh. That's very cool. Well, I loved sharing with you guys. I loved learning from you guys. I hope you guys have learned something. I'm glad you are here, and my little one is home now, so I must get going because I won't be able to finish a coherent thought with my helper. So great. I'm happy to answer any questions if you want to reach out to me personally if there wasn't something that we answered here tonight, and we can be in touch. But I hope to see you next week for our next class. So sending you all love. Thank you so much. Have the best night, and we'll take care of your health and your gut, please.
Okay, call me tomorrow, Karen.
Okay, I will.
All right, love you.
Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, Karen.
Thank you, Stacy.
Bye. Bye, sweetie pie. See you later.